Hey everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to play Brass Lancashire, but possibly not how to pronounce it. Don't pay attention to how I'm pronouncing it. Hey everyone, so this is the first of my new shorter, tighter, more concise videos. It was requested that I speak a little bit faster. If I'm speaking too fast, please just comment down below in the comments. All right, so let's get right to it. So this video is going to be how to play Brass Lancashire. Brass Lancashire is an economic game. I guess you're around the Industrial Revolution. You're in England, you're selling cotton, and the different parts and pieces of that economy, the trains, the canals, the ironworks, the coal works, the foreign markets. That's what the game is. So my group got really confused. The first game, I've since played, I don't know, 4 or 5 games. So I think the game is really easy, but the instructions, at least for my group, were difficult to understand. So with that, let's set up the game, and I'll talk about what the things are as I'm doing it and what to look out for. All right, so first of all, let's prepare the draw deck. Now, the draw deck has cards that are for cities, like Preston or Warrington and Runker. These are all English names. I don't know how to pronounce any of them. All right, and then there's industrial cards. That's a port, that is a shipyard, that is iron, and this is coal. That's it? Yeah. Okay, so that's that. The cards are marked with, I don't know if you can see this, they're marked with the number of players that the card applies to. So 2, 3, or 4 is for this card. I'm setting up for 2 players. So basically, you take any of the cards that are just for 3 or 4, or just for 4, and you just remove those. Whatever doesn't apply to your group, you just get it out of there. You shuffle it, loose shuffle. Try to keep them upright to satisfy your friend's OCD, or be like me and just give up on it. All right, so you shuffle it. You're going to take this card, they call it the rocket. Don't know anything about this period of time, people. Sorry. Probably made the game designers just cry right there. So take a number of cards equal to the number of players. In this case, there's 2. Put those on the bottom, and then you put your rocket, and that way you know when the first half of the game is over. What's interesting about this game is it's very precise. So it's much closer to an economic version of chess than it is something that is more abstract or just like a simulation game. No, this is very measured, so it's how successful you're going to be within the time frame that that they give you. All right, these tiles represent the foreign cotton markets. So just take them. There's -2s, -3s, -1s, 0s, and you're just going to shuffle them. Probably better than the way I'm doing it. Put them right there. You're going to take the marshmallow. If this isn't a marshmallow to you, then there's sadness in your heart. So put the marshmallow right there on the highest demand of the cotton market. You can see that there's a symbol of a cotton mill, and there's a symbol for the foreign markets trade symbol. So this is important. That the symbolism will help remind you of the rules later on in the game. All right. In addition to the foreign cotton mill market demand, which is currently the demand is at 3 income, there's also the iron demand and the steel demand. So we can see that the coal has a requirement. In order to buy coal from the market, you have to have access to the foreign markets. To buy steel, it just teleports. This is a fantasy steampunk version of the world. No, I'm sorry, game designers. I just don't understand where the steel comes from. At any rate, steel just teleports to you, so you don't need the foreign markets for it, but you do for the coal. You can see that there is, at this point in the game, coal available for sale that only costs 1, and then coal that only costs 2, 3, and 4. You can buy coal as needed, even when it runs out of the market, but then it's the most expensive, which is 5, and there's no symbol for it. Same thing for steel, 1 through 5, and there's an infinite amount of steel if you can afford it. It just, it's at the highest price. Okay, something else to look for on the board, there's the current price of connections, or links as they call it. So in the first half of the game, the links require rivers. They cost 3 money. They're only available during the first half of the game. And the latter half of the game, you can see that there is coal, and it is 5 money to build 1, or 15 money to build 2. And it takes 2 lumps of coal to build 2, and it only takes 1 to build 1. So there you go. All right. In addition, on the board, when you build links, the number of victory points that the links are worth is equal to the number of these symbols that the links connect to. That's the primary purpose of these symbols. So if you build a link between Blackpool and an empty Preston, then it's worth 2 victory points when you score it. So that's how that works. All right. Every industry that's built can possibly be worth 1 victory point. So it's very easy to look at here and say, okay, so this is worth between 2 and 5 victory points. This is worth between 0 and 7 victory points. So that's the mindset you're supposed to be having. You can see that Scotland, Yorkshire, the Midlands, those places all have access to the foreign markets. So when you build from there, then pretty much everybody that's connected to that network then has access to the foreign markets. So that's important to keep in mind. And that's the game board. We also have this turn order track. I'll highlight it in a moment. All right, so you're going to want to next take 1 player tile per player, and you're going to want to fill it up. A player tile is going to give you a person, and I don't know the significance of the 2 sides, but I'm sure history people do. Then it's going to give you a little hexagon. It's going to give you a circle. It's going to give you a person token. It's going to give you industries in cotton, ports, shipyards, iron, and coal. You can see that they're grouped by like technology level, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see that shipyards, there is no 0 shipyard to buy, but you can't build level 1 shipyards until you burn through these no build symbols. All ports give you access to the foreign market, and the number of coal or the number of steel that a given coal or steel gives you is on the tile. And also you can see that on the player tile, even though the cost is on the left, so it costs 12, 14, 16, or 18. It costs 6, 7, 8, or 9, so on for the different types of industry. Also, when you score them, you flip them, and they're worth the number of victory points at the end of the era equal to this number, bottom left. In this case, it's 5. And you can see it's worth immediate income equal to this number, which is 5. Also, you don't need to flip them to figure that out. On the player tile, it says it right very clearly. 5 and 5, 4 and 5, 3 and 9, 2 and 12. So the higher the technology level of the building, the less immediate income that you're going to get, but the more victory points that it's going to be worth if you if you're able to keep it until the end of the era. That's important. You don't get the victory points until the end of the era. And if it's not there anymore, then you don't get them. Okay, so this tracker is for your victory points. So you put the hexagons for each player. We put one for there, both at 0. You can see there's 2 lines of numbers, the outside number and then the inside number. You put the money tracker, the income tracker, at the 10 mark, which is 0 income. You're neither losing nor gaining money at 0. So boom, right there. Each player gets their own player mat. Whoever last went to another city is first player. Let's put purple first. Yellow is second. Each turn, this turn order may change. So that's important to keep in mind. All right, you're going to give everybody 30 money. 15 and 15, 15 and 15. Whoever has the most amount of OCD, you should make them the banker because they will do a better job of piling money. All right, so at this point, you've got cards, you've got the format, everything is all set up. So you just have to give out 8 cards to each player, and then you are ready to play. So the first thing to keep in mind is that you have to discard a card for every action, period. Doesn't matter if you pass, doesn't matter if you take a loan, develop, anything, you discard 1 card per action. Very precise. Everything will get messed up if you don't enforce this rule. The next thing is that the first action you only get, or the first round, you only get 1 action. Every round after that for the entire rest of the game, you get 2 actions, and there will always be 2 cards discarded every round after the first. There will be 1 after, in the first. And a big part of the game is that you discard 1 card per action, but some actions let you do more than 1 thing. So make sure to do as many things as you can each action to effectively get more play than the other players who weren't as concise or weren't as economic or efficient. All right. So the first action, I'm just going to go through each of the action types. So what you would normally do is you would look at your hand. So in this case, I have Berkshire, Liverpool. I'm not going to name all these cities. So a bunch of cities. And I have one industry card, which is coal. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to look around and I'm going to choose what do I have access to try to figure out how am I going to try to win. You can try to win a couple different ways. You can try to win by really aggressively going after the cotton market. You might be going after the foreign market. You might be going after coal. You might be going after steel. You might be going after shipyards. Obviously, you're going to be doing everything usually, but you generally are going to base your actions, your starting strategy off of this. The cool thing about this game is that they do let you overcome the randomness of the cards, but you have to be careful about whether or not that's actually the right call to do or not. All right, so I'm going to go through some actions. I'm going to do the actions within the context of a round so that maybe they're easier to memorize and that within the context. You normally would not necessarily do these actions at these times. So this is not how to win. This is how to play. All right. First player is purple. They're in the number 1 track. So they're going to choose to take a loan. I'm going to discard a card. You look at it, you choose, but I'm choosing to discard a coal card. And with that, I am going to take a loan. That gives me 30 more money. And it moves me back 3 income. Because I'm at the 0 mark, it moves me back to -3, which is the 7 mark. If I was at, let's say, 22, which is the 6 income track, I would go back to 3. And that would put me at the highest number within the 3 bracket, which is 16. But in this case, I'm at -3. So the higher you go up in the income track, the worse that the loans hurt you. Kind of the opposite of real life. So with that, that puts me at 30, puts me at -3 income track. Let's redraw. Always redraw. Second player, number 2 track, they're going to develop. So I'm going to discard a card, Preston. I'm going to choose to develop. I can develop once or twice. I'm choosing to develop twice. I have to spend 2 steel to develop. Now I could choose to develop using steel from anywhere, but I'm choosing to do it from the market. So 2, and that's going to cost me 2. When you buy something in a turn, always put it on your player token. So I put the 2 here. I've spent the 2 steel. I now get to develop twice. I'm going to develop once the coal and once the shipyard. I'm then going to draw back up. And you can see that I've unlocked the number 2 coal. I've almost unlocked the number 1 shipyard. So the next time I build a coal, it'll be the number 2, won't be the number 1. So that's the purpose of developing. Okay, so after this, all the players are done. We determine who is the first player. Whoever has spent the least is the first player of the second round, and that's purple still. This money goes back into the bank. Then I determine income. So purple loses 3 money. This is not spent money. This is just, I guess, interest on the loan. So I'm going to spend 3, or not spend 3, I'm going to lose 3. And yellow is at 0, so yellow didn't lose any money. So you wouldn't normally take a loan first turn, but there is a reason to take a loan early in the game. All right, the next turn, the purple player has 2 actions, and each action costs a card. That's important to keep in mind. I'm going to have the purple player build. And so we're going to have him build a cotton market. And we're going to build it in, let's see. I want to build next to a port. Let's go Maclee's Field. So I discard a card, Maclee's Field. I'm going to put a level 1 cotton mill right here. And then I'm going to spend the 12 money. 10, 12. Okay. Second action, I am going to build a link, and that's going to cost me another card, Rochdale, and I will build a canal. Canals cost me 3, and you put your color like so. So now Maclee's Field and Midlands is connected, and then that is the round. I'm going to draw back up. Now, yellow player, first action is going to be to build a coal mine. So I want to build in Rochdale is where I want to build, but I can't because I don't have a Rochdale card. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to spend both actions. I'm going to discard 2 Liverpools, and if you discard 2 actions, you can build anything you want, anywhere you want. So in this case, I'm building a coal mine right there. Coal mine cost me 7, 5, 6, 7. And I put 3 coal there. And that is my first round. I draw back up. Again, that was 2 action. I had to discard 2 cards as like a wild. I can do anything I want. So if you have a strategy, that can make sense, but I did half the number of things that the purple player did. So be careful with that. Okay, now we determine turn order. So we can see that yellow spent less than purple. So yellow is the new first player. We're going to discard all the money. We're going to determine income. So yellow player is still at 0, so they neither gain nor lose money. But purple is still at -3, so they have to spend another 3. See what I'm saying about OCD players? You want them to be your banker. You just do. All right, discard 3, because that's not me. All right, so purple player lost 3 because they're at -3 on the income track. All right, and yellow player. So yellow player is going to discard a card to build a link to the to Yorkshire. Next player, they're going to sell as their first action. So they're going to sell their cotton to the foreign market. So the way you do that is you flip open or over the foreign market demand tile. Oh my gosh, -3, that's the worst. 1, 2, 3. So the foreign market's demand is only at 2 income. And then I'm going to flip this, and that makes it equal to 7 income. 1, 2, 3, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That puts me at 2 income. That, if I have it at the end of the stage, at the era, it's going to be worth 5 victory points, which I will, because that's how cotton is guaranteed unless you overbuild. There we go. Okay, so skip forward a couple times, and in this alternate fake reality, yellow player is going to build a steel plant. They're going to do a wild card again. So 2 cards to do a wild card, and they're going to build a level 3 steel. So level 3 steel, we're going to build it right here. And the way that works, obviously level 3 steel costs 9. 2 things. 1, it requires spending a coal, so I can just spend a coal right off of my coal mine. Boom, it's connected. That's why I had to do that. Number 2, it puts out 3, 4, 5 steel, but it immediately sells most of that steel to the market. So I sell 4 of them to refill that, and that's 2, 4, 5, 6 money. 5, 6 money, and I've almost scored it. So the way you score steel or coal is you need to get rid of all of your steel or coal. So boom, let's do that. It'll make sense in a moment. How to score it. So choose to sell in the foreign market. We've moved the marshmallow down to 0. We know we're not going to make any money off the foreign market, but we might not make any money at all. So boom, -1. There is no demand. So if it had been a 0, he could have sold. So yellow cannot sell to the foreign market in this scenario. That's fine. Another future action, he's going to sell to himself. Okay, but purple needs to sell this cotton mill. So purple's action is going to be to sell to this port. So you flip this port, and what that means is yellow player is going to get 3 victory points, 1, 2, and 3. Or not 3, 3 money, 3 income. Then the cotton mill flips. So purple player gets 4 income. All right, and then at the end of the era, yellow player is going to get that victory point, purple player is going to get that victory point. So you can see that the networks are interchangeable. Only the owner gets the victory points for the networks. Only the owner can build from the networks, but anybody can sell things through the networks, and anybody can sell stuff through to people's ports, anybody can use the coal or the iron from another player, and those are free. So if purple player wants to use up some coal or some steel, they can just grab them from the other player. Those players don't get money, but they do get victory points, which is better because this game isn't about money. You need to make money in order to get victory points, but you don't need money per se. Let's put out a shipyard just because. Boom, shipyard. No network connected to it, just built it. No, you need coal. You have to have a shipyard. You have to have a connection. So boom, let's go shipyard here just to make it technically correct. Okay. The era ends, right? Remember the era ends when you hit that tile. So at this point, you would score things. So to score it, it's pretty easy. You just count. So first of all, you have your little helpful card. So you score canal links. So take off each canal link, 1, 2, 3 victory points, and that's it. Oops. Then score the next canal links, 1, 2, 3. Remember, so yellow is scoring off of purple's canal link. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. So all those canals gave almost no victory points because things weren't scored. So that's important. Okay, then flipped industry tiles. So 1, 2 for purple, and 1. Oh, shipyards are flipped immediately when built. So that would have been worth 1 more for yellow. Sorry, guys. And then 1, 2, 2 for yellow. Then remove all level 1 industries. That's gone, that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. So, reset cotton, marshmallow, boom. Shuffle all the cards. The era ends when you run out of cards, so you would never have any cards left in your hand. I'm just trying to very quickly go through the types of actions. At this point, I think I've shown you pretty much everything. The second time that you shuffle out the cards, you're going to put out 2 per player, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to put those underneath this kind of handsome, unhappy looking guy. He's British, so he's not allowed to be happy. You put the rest of the cards on top. You deal out 8 and 8. You're going to repeat this process. And that's, I mean, that will be the game. Obviously now you're going to be building trains instead of canals. So they're the flip side. You got to build all new ones again. Keep in mind that you can't build things unless you can get, like you can't build higher level things unless you can get coal to them. And that means you need access either to a port or you need access to another player who has some coal. It is always cheaper to get coal from another player, but you're giving them victory points too. So you have to make that, you know, economic decision. And notice shipyard is actually super expensive. It's 16 money, 1 steel, 1 iron. I mean, 1 steel, 1 coal, but it's gone. And then now you got to develop out another one, which costs you an action. And then finally you can build out a level 2 shipyard. So shipyards only get scored once, 10 for number 1, 18 for number 2. They score immediately, so they're not a risk. There's no gamble there. It's just guaranteed. These, on the other hand, they could have scored twice. If you had, flipped it, you would have gotten scores in the level 1 era, in the canal era, and then you would have got score again in the level 2, rail era. On the other hand, purple is going to get this score twice. So this was actually worth 10 points, not worth 5 points. These are worth 0 points, and they might or might not get scaled. The only other thing that kind of needs to be covered up or gone over is overbuilding. So if this player wanted a level 3 cotton mill, they developed, got rid of their number 2s. They could, if they wanted, spend the money and resources to build a number 3 on top. Okay? Now, the first one's gone. You can just get rid of it. But now you can sell it again. So if you successfully sell it, now you're going to get more income, and you're going to get the 9 victory points at the end of the era. So you can overbuild your own things anytime you want, as long as they're higher level things. Okay, now coal or steel are a little bit different. So let's say that when he developed his level 3s, he used up the steel here, flipped it, done. All right, yellow player's happy, but then purple player builds a 4 on top. See, with the coal or the steel, you can build on top of empty coal or steel mines or smelters. I don't know what they are. So yellow has just lost his victory points. Purple now has to 3, 6. Purple now has to successfully score the steel. So it's not guaranteed. It's a risk. But no matter what, they've blocked the other player from getting those victory points. So it's a little bit more of a combative move to override other people's empty mines. That's it. Scoring is pretty straightforward. You score, rail, same as you ever would. You build it pretty much same as anything. It just now costs coal to build your rail, and you score 1 victory point per 10 money. You don't want this. This is like it's kind of a tiebreaker. It's kind of just like, oh, you're not totally suffering because you have some leftover money. So 30 money, that'd be 3 victory points. 1, 2, 3. Don't go for money. I mean, that's not the point of the game. All right, so that was how to play Brass Lancashire. And you get to laugh at me and comment below how I mispronounced words, probably. Warrington and Runcorn. Runcorn? Macclesfield? Why is Macclesfield so far from Scotland? I feel like Macclesfield should be closer to a Gaelic-speaking country or something. Oh well. With that, I hope this was helpful. Comment down below, what would you like me to see more of? Would you like me to see more gameplay rounds? Was it more confusing to kind of do it within the context of gameplay rounds, or was it helpful? I just want to know. I'm trying to refine this process a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys, and bye.